Welcome inside for another episode of Get Boosted on Shot Callers eSports. Eric Kummel here with Matt Hempstead, and the rumors are flying.
Oh boy.
They're going everywhere. Let's get right into the juiciest one so far. The Houston Rockets are changing their name from Clutch City Gaming to Clutch Gaming. Just Clutch Gaming, no city.
What a juicy rumor. First of all, who really cares? There's all these NBA teams being like, wow, we're going to actually make some moves signing coaches. And then there's Houston Rockets being like, sit in the boardroom. Should we take city out of our name? Or should we sign a coach? Let's make it Clutch Gaming.
I think whoever came up with this idea to take the city out is getting a big raise. It's going to change the entire shape of this organization moving forward.
Yeah, you're like, should I sign with Clutch City Gaming? Absolutely not. What a ridiculous name. Clutch Gaming.
Oh.
I'm in. Let's go.
I'm in for the rest of my career. But there is actual.
Yeah, I know you're kidding, obviously. This is not important whatsoever. No one gives a damn.
No one cares. The juiciest one so far that's real, of course, is related to the boys in black and white. TSM. The Zven and Mithy rumors kind of died down for a bit. They were originally linked to maybe coming to TSM, and now it looks like they actually are. Some people are saying maybe it's not a huge upgrade but over Biofrost and Double Lift, but I feel like it is.
Yeah, I mean, look, officially teams can't sign players until tomorrow.
Right, nothing is official.
Right, but all these reports now, it's come from multiple sources saying that Zven and Mithy are going to Team Solo Mid, replacing Double Lift and Biofrost. Of course, that raises a couple issues. One, that's the 2 import slots taken up. Bjergsen is an NA resident, so that's not the problem. But Zven is, so he's going to have to be replaced. But the issue with him is that apparently his bio is massive. So some team's going to have to put up a lot of money to get Sven off of TSM and onto their team. But regardless, it looks like TSM is going with that European bot lane. And like you said, are they better than Double Lift and Biofrost? I would say significantly, yes. I mean, people often sleep on these guys because they've been so solid for so long in Europe with G2, with Origin. But as a duo especially, it's so strong. And you bring in Mithy to be the main shot caller in this team, give Bjergsen a break. All of a sudden, his workload is a little less. He can focus on dominating the mid lane like he used to before he took on more of a shot caller presence. When you get a new jungler, we'll get to some of the guys who have been mentioned, and I think we both know who it's going to be probably. We've also heard some things going around, but I think it's a great move. And then another question is where will Double Lift and Biofrost go, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, and I think with Zven and Mithy, if they're coming over, I mean, maybe it's not even a huge upgrade, but TSM obviously had to do something. They had to change something with the roster. So bringing in 2 guys like that who already have established synergy and chemistry over several years now. They've made some noise at Worlds. They've dominated the EU LCS for a while now. So I think just bringing them and planting them right into the team, I mean, you don't have any real issues there. They both speak English, which is always a positive for TSM. So, whew, depending on who they get in the jungle, yeah, this is a pretty insane looking team, but don't get too hyped. Don't want to get too hyped too early.
No, I mean, you don't, but when you look at their entire roster, all of a sudden, it looks pretty star-studded. You got Haunter in the top lane, and there's a guy we're looking at in the jungle.
Oh,
there's been talks of Mike Young going to TSM for a long time.
They're heating up now.
Yeah, I know. Now they're heating up even more. Now that you have Zven and Mithy, it has to be a local guy. And TSM's not going to settle for someone unproven, even a guy in the past, like a Medio, something like that. And it looks like Mike Young will be the guy. I'm sure it'll be announced sooner than later.
To be fair, he might be a little unproven. He's basically had not even a full split.
Sure, he's unproven, yes. But look at all the guys who are proven on this TSM roster. Everyone else. This is an all-star team. Haunter, Bjergsen, Zven, Mithy. You throw in Mike Young, who has the ceiling to be an undeniable talent in North America, and all of a sudden, TSM, we've talked about how their roster has looked so good in the past. This might be the best it's ever looked. And obviously, after last year's Worlds, or a month ago, they need to do something different. And this is a big change. TSM saying, you know what, we're going all in here. The start of LCS franchising, you bring in Zven and Mithy, the best bot lane duo from Europe, pair him with Mike Young, a guy who's got undeniable talent, and I think they might be on the way to something great.
Yeah, and now the thing is, we've seen TSM bring in these massive changes in an offseason. When Double Lift and Yellow Star originally came on TSM, that was actually their worst regular season finish that they've ever had in the LCS. So sometimes these things don't work right away, and I mean, there's going to take time to develop the synergy. I mean, look at the synergy between these two. Look how happy they are. And
Now
they're gone. They're probably gone. Doublelift tweeting out today the triple question mark, which had people in a frenzy with the picture of him in the trash can after he had left CLG and went to TSM. So speculations can go wild in terms of that. But I mean, he's got to know, right? If he's off the team, you'd think Reggie and the guys on TSM would be like, oh, by the way, goodbye. You guys are off the team. So I'm sure he knows to some extent what's going on. In terms of Zven Mithy, maybe no teams want to sign him. Maybe TSM keeps him and just puts him on their academy team. I believe the rule is you can only have 2 imports in your starting roster. So you could hide him on the academy team. I don't think Zven would like that very much. I don't know what he could do about it, though.
At the end of the day, someone's going to have to come along and take on this massive buyout. And I'm sure teams are interested, but then again, when the price tag is that big on a guy who may not have had the best performance, I still think he's a good jungler. But you look at his split last year, he got thrown under the bus a little bit. Teams might be saying, do we really want to spend that much on this guy? And that's also an import slot. So that's the only issue. Otherwise, yeah, they could throw him down there, but it's not going to be, he's not going to love it too much, I guess. And you can't just sub him in and out because you already have the 2 imports in that bot lane now. So it's a difficult situation for Zven Mithy. But I'm sure someone will eventually get him, whether it's in Europe or North America. I think someone will pick up Zven Mithy, especially after some of these other guys get picked up. And the team's kind of left scrambling, being like, well, now we're screwed. Let's go get Zven. Yeah. As for Doublelift and Biofrost, 2 guys now out there.
That's a hot commodity, man.
Yeah. Will they stay together? Will they go to different ways? Who knows? I know all of a sudden people are like, is Rush Hour coming back? Because there's also some CLG news. Not very surprising, but we'll touch on that later on, where there's scenarios, I guess, that they could reunite. I don't see it happening.
I don't know if they want that to happen.
Exactly. I don't think Afro specifically would love it, because we all know the history between those 2 guys. But Doublelift, a huge commodity in the AD carry position. I'm sure teams are looking at it, but it's not just a free agent thing. His contract goes past 2017, as does Biofrost. So they're still under contract. So just like Zven Mithy, they're going to have to be bought out, transferred, something like that to switch teams.
And I think a guy like Zven Mithy, yeah, people are saying he underperformed, didn't have a great split. But, I mean, just look at a guy like Smithy last split. He was good on CLG. I wouldn't say he was great in his last split that he was there. And then he comes on to Immortals. His chains are broken, and he's free to do whatever he wants on Immortals. And look at that, he's one of the best junglers in NA. Maybe Zven Mithy, when he's freed from the chains of TSM and can take off his handcuffs that are attached to Bjergsen, he's allowed to roam freely. Maybe you see a different jungler and more of that aggressive Zven that we saw earlier on in his career. So who knows?
I hope so. But the question is, I know some people are like, well, if Mike Young's a TSM, won't he get the TSM chains as well? I don't think so, because this team is all of a sudden so different, and they'll have a different shot caller, a different priority. Zven and Mithy will, demand a bit of attention too, alongside just playing get Bjergsen going. All of a sudden, the triple threat thing. I know Doublelift is still a threat in that bot lane, but when you have the main shot caller in the bot lane too, it affects how things are played. So Mithy will bring a different play style, hopefully loosen up Mike Young in the jungle, let him play his aggressive style, and not turn him into another ward for Bjergsen, as we know the memes go.
Yeah, the problem is there'll probably be all 3 lanes wanting jungle attention. So that's always rough as a jungler when everyone's like, gank my lane, gank my lane, gank my lane.
At the same time, he should be winning lanes.
There should be some winning lanes there that helps him out a lot, which wasn't very used to on P1.
No.
So assuming Mike Young is going there. Again, TSM, pretty limited options now that they have to go for a domestic jungler, and they're going to try and get the best of the best. And if you're a guy like Mike Young looking at all the options, is there really a better option in NA than an opening on TSM? I can't see that happening. And they'll throw a lot of money. So TSM, if Mike Young heads over there and they get Zven and Mithy, I mean, you could argue they have top 1 or 2 in every position in the NALCS. So that'll be pretty insane. But we'll see.
It's definitely crazy. For everyone joining right now, is TSM getting Zven and Mithy? It would appear so. All the reports are saying yes. Again, a team can't come out and officially say we've signed these 2 players, but all reports are indicating that yes, G2's bot lane is going to North America and TSM.
And that's the weirdest part of this whole situation, is because nothing can be official yet. You don't hear anything from TSM. You don't hear anything from Zven and Mithy. All you get again is a couple of question marks and an old picture of him in the trash can from Doublelift. So it's hard to say what's fully going on, what the future is. But yeah, it is heavily hinted towards Zven and Mithy coming over to TSM. And I'm thinking the next coming days, a lot of this stuff is going to be more concrete and officially confirmed by some teams, which will be nice.
Okay, I mean, Riot hasn't even announced the 10 franchises yet, but 100 Thieves and these guys are making moves, so safe to say they are.
You know when you make a name change,
yeah,
that's a big move. That's like 6,300 IP. How much Blue Essence is that?
Right. But tomorrow I expect Team Solomid to come out and say, Zven and Mithy are joining us, and then Doublelift and Biofrost up in the air. Again, if you're looking for a leak, look at Doublelift. The man is notorious for giving away information he's not supposed to give away.
Just watch his stream. I'm sure he'll stream tonight and say something he shouldn't say.
Yeah, very likely.
Very likely.
That's what he does.
That was only the beginning. Well, that was more the middle of all the news coming out. But also, our friends from Team Liquid and Disney, shoutouts to Daphne wearing the jersey, is basically signing every other available free agent that there is. They picked up basically everyone from Immortals. Pobelter, Xmithy, and Cody Sun all heading over there. Now, again, they're taking these contracts from Immortals, and it's not necessarily true that they're going to sign all these guys and keep them. It sounds like Xmithy is the main guy that they want to sign and keep on the roster, which means with Andall also coming over from Immortals, they have 5 junglers.
That's a lot of
on the roster. They could put an entire starting lineup of just junglers. Matt, why do they have so many junglers? 5?
Well, I mean, there's a couple things going on with this team. Apparently, Xmithy is the guy they're looking at to actually play jungle on this team, which means, Dardoch, Rainover, Anori, Onda, all those other guys. You're going to have to find somewhere else. Onda might be a guy that they stash on their challenger team because he's a guy who, pretty talented, but hasn't gotten a chance yet. As for Rainover, apparently he was making a lot of money last year, around the $350,000 mark, which is a lot. So he's going to have to be bought out or transferred again. And I think I've heard that Immortals, they were kind of doing Immortals a favor. They're going to bring on these contracts and they're going to ship them off to other teams. So they helped the Immortals out, take these deals on so they can get out of league. And now they're going to start making moves. And I guess the question is, do they like Mickey? Do they like Pobelter? What will they do with the other guy that doesn't get that starting gig? But I think Xmithy is the one guy who has a solid spot on this roster. Piglet might be on the move. And then Mickey, Pobelter kind of fighting for that. As for Lorlo and Matt, I don't know what the deal is. This roster, I mean, we see those guys right there on the screen. But it could look a lot different, again, pretty shortly. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but from what I've heard, Xmithy is the guy they're looking at to play in the jungle.
Yeah, and I mean, if they're going with Xmithy, yeah, that's 4 other guys. You're looking at maybe Rainover, Pobelter, maybe Piglet, all these guys that Liquid will be looking to move around or do something with. So that's a lot of chips they can put in. Pobelter, we mentioned, is one of, if not the most sought-after talent to have heading into this franchising season because he's that domestic mid laner. Now you throw in Doublelift and Biofrost potentially. Those are some other guys that'll be highly sought after, but I can't. Is Mickey better than Pobelter? I would save that import slot if I have the option to sign Pobelter. First dibs on signing Pobelter.
You have contract rights on the best available domestic mid laner.
Lock it up, man.
You take it or you ask a lot for it because, man, Pobelter should be a guy that a lot of teams are targeting. Probably already were, and then Team Liquid came swooping in and was like, we'll just take all your guys from you, and Immortals, you can get the hell out of here. We'll take care of it. So, man, if you're Team Liquid, it looks like a weird move, but at the same time, it gives them so much control over the market and who can play on their team. It gives them options. If a team comes in wanting Mickey and puts up a good price tag, maybe they'll just say, you know what, we'll go with Pope. Not a bad option.
No.
So we'll have to see, but Piglet, I expect to maybe be on his way out. And then again, they're fighting Mickey, Pobelter. Who's it going to be? I don't know, but they've got a lot of options, obviously, with 5 junglers, with a bunch of mid laners. They're going to have to figure it out, but a lot of teams are going to be coming knocking on their door, asking questions. What's it going to take to get contract rights from you? Can we have Pobelter? Can we have Cody's son? Who knows who they're after? But yeah, can we maybe have someone on your roster? You have a lot of guys.
I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if Liquid just keeps stacking up guys. There's no rule. I'm sure you just have to get down to 10 players by the time the LCS starts. So why not just amass 25 players and then a couple weeks before be like, all right, here's 15 guys. You guys can fight over them. And then teams are desperate by then. I feel like Liquid might have something up their sleeve here where they're trying to, you know, I don't want to say screw over, but I'm going to say screw over some of these other teams.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting that they have so many guys.
You know, the whole paid by Steve memes are pretty hilarious. But
Paid
this is
by
one
Disney,
situation
man.
where almost a tenth of the league is paid by Steve. So
Yep.
many players are paid by Steve right now. It's obnoxious. So Liquid's definitely an interesting scenario. I thought a lot of these Immortals guys would stick together, or at least try to. And now it's it looked like they were when they
Now
initially
they're all
went,
going to get
but
shipped off
yeah,
to
to different
10
parts of the
different
world.
teams. Oh,
Man,
yeah.
it's a bizarre situation. Team Liquid keeping their options open and just hogging the market.
Hey, they're coming off back-to-back 9th place finishes. They got to do something to change them up. So if they keep Matt and Lorlo, I'd be surprised if they're shifting around all these other 3 positions.
Yeah.
And you saw there, not much diversity in the top or support lane. Support lane. Yeah. Bot lane. Maybe they're going after Afromo. Bring
Who
in
knows?
an import somewhere in the top lane. They're going to have a crazy roster. That's no doubt. It's not just players that are going all over the place. We got a whole coaching carousel that's gone around over the weekend. A lot of guys in different places. And the NBA teams making some noise, signing some coaches, and having a figurehead for the future.
Not Clutch Gaming, though.
Not Clutch Gaming. They were stuck in the boardroom all weekend deciding whether or not to go with Clutch City or just Clutch Gaming.
It's
I'm
important.
glad they finally settled on it.
Yeah.
Shorten that abbreviation to just CG.
Can't be screwing around with everything
You
else.
don't want CCG. That's too much. But
I liked it. Nah, that's fine.
some of the coaches, we got more EU coming over to NA. Prawley leaving H2K after it looks like who knows what's going on with H2K. They signed a couple of guys that it sounds like Prawley didn't want any part of. So he's out of there. Over to the Cavs, going to 100 Thieves. Going to be the coach there. We also got Song coming over to TSM for upwards of 300,000,
Is that good? Is that,
which is rain over money.
yeah. Apparently he made 150K with Immortals. So.
Just double up your salary. Pretty good increase.
Not bad.
That's a good year if you have that. Loco Doco coming back with the Golden Guardians. You know, he's good at bringing in talent, that's for sure. As an actual coach, not so sure.
Yeah, he might have some good connection with Korean players, so maybe expect some interesting names going over the Golden Guardians and the Warriors.
Maybe.
Who knows?
We'll definitely bring them in. And then we've got Zaboutine going over to Optic, the French caster. People not too happy about that one. I'll be honest, I don't know a huge amount about him.
No, that one's kind of surprising. You'd think there's bigger names out there, but Romain, I like him to go with his French brethren, Zaboutine.
I respect that.
Zaboutine,
There you
if
go.
you want to put the accent on it.
Boutin.
And as a lot of people were wondering, what's going on with Parth? He will be sticking with TSM, just in a more organizational manner, like he was originally brought on to do so. He wasn't supposed to be the coach originally. He stepped in, took over that, and now Song is going to take over.
And he got a lot of flame for TSM struggles at
Yeah.
Worlds. And, you know, it's always fun to just pick ban and blame the coach when teams lose, right? But, I mean, yeah, Parth was supposed to be a temporary head coach for the whole time. He's more of an analytical type guy to break down the games and stuff. So the fact that he was head coach for so long was definitely not in TSM's game plan. And we'll see if a language barrier is a bit of an issue with Song. I know Lust Boy's working with the team too, so you can have a bit of translation there, but
Yeah.
it is going to be a little difficult. I mean, Immortals had a couple guys who could speak Korean there in Ole, Flame. I believe Pobelter can speak Korean, so I mean, that's 3/5 of your team who can speak some degree of Korean. Not the case with TSM, so we'll see if that's an issue.
We'll definitely see if that's an issue. Interesting for me, obviously, Song going to TSM is a big move. He has a good amount of success with Immortals roster, getting them
Not
into
bad.
the NALCS finals to World as well. We don't need to talk about the World's performance, but that's, you know what happened. But probably coming back from Europe to NA, spent a lot of time with H2K. Pretty good results. Obviously, they never really made it big, made that huge splash. They had that good Worlds run a year ago, going to the semifinals.
They were always a top 4 team in EU.
Right. And probably showed, at least for me, that he was one of the top coaches in Europe. All of a sudden, NALCS, a lot of money on the table. Now he goes to the Cleveland Cavaliers and 100 Thieves. I like the move. It's a good place to start. He's done a lot with some not so great teams in the past, and maybe 100 Thieves can put together a roster that isn't too bad and probably can get some good strategies going on for them. So I like that move a lot. Loco, he was with GCU in that Challenger Series. We'll see what he can do with a brand new roster and Golden Guardians as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of scouting that's going to be involved, not just with this scouting grounds that's coming up. That's definitely second fiddle to this massive free agency pool that's going to really open up tomorrow. And take a look at some of these guys who have announced their free agency. Now, going into free agency does not mean you're done with the team you're on.
Right.
It does not mean you're leaving. It happens in sports all the time. Guys go into free agency to field offers from other teams to see basically what they're worth in the open market. And then you can go to your original team and be like, hey, these guys offered me this much. So will you pay me that much? Will you pay me more? Because if you don't, I'm going to go to them. And it's basically forcing the team that you've been on for the whole time, forcing their hand. In some cases, sure, they just want to leave. But, I mean, a couple of guys who are heading into free agency that we already know. Ignar from Misfits recently announced Afromu is going into free agency, which people are kind of losing their minds about because CLG re-signed Darshan, Huhi, and Stixay, and they didn't re-sign Afromu. He's going into free agency. But again, that doesn't just mean that Afro's off of CLG. He's gone. He's going to reunite with Double Lift somewhere. They're going to go play on Echo Fox. He's going to look at all his offers and then make a decision. There's still a good chance he goes right back to CLG because that roster doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, no, it still looks pretty solid, and who knows what's going to happen in the jungle. Omar God, maybe not. Maybe they'll find someone else. But don't panic if you're CLG fans. Afromu, even on his stream, as he told me, he said, you know what? I'm going to clarify. I'm going in free agency. I'm going to look at offers. That's it. He just wants to see what's out there. That's a normal move for anyone in normal sports. In esports, you see what's out there, and then a lot of times players still come back to their original teams after being like, nothing crazy. Or, hey, this team offered me this. CLG, can you match it? Yes, no, okay, make my decision, come back, leave. It's not a big deal. It's not, to me, this is not news that Afromu is exploring free agency. I expect this kind of stuff from these players. You don't just blindly re-sign. You want to be like, oh, that's a lot of money. I'll take you up on it. But I'm not convinced that he's going to leave. If he does, it's going to have to be for a pretty good situation. Spends a lot of time on CLG, unless there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. Maybe he'll depart, but for all these people hoping for the Rush Hour reunion, I would not expect it. I wouldn't get my hopes up. They didn't leave on the best of terms. They've kind of made up and become friends again. But again, the history of those two playing together, not the best. Left on bad terms on CLG. I wouldn't expect them to play on the same team in this upcoming split.
But people are liking this Echo Fox.
Yeah, I don't know where this came from.
Rick Fox, I believe, liked the tweet that said Afromu was going into free agency. Obviously, Rick Fox has been a fan of CLG. His son, that was his main team that he cheered for. Rick Fox loves Afromu, so bring him on to Echo Fox. They definitely need a new bot lane.
They do. Who would
Badly.
the AD carry be? Hopefully not Keith or Mash.
Double Lift's coming in. That's where the Rush Hour is going.
Yeah,
With
wow.
Froggen.
I don't see it, my friend.
Is there a white Danish character in any of the Rush Hour movies?
Probably a Russian guy or something. Always a stereotypical Russian guy.
That's fair. Make sure you're sending in your questions. There's a lot of things to talk about.
There's a lot of questions
a lot of moves
coming
going in. We'll get to those in a little bit, but
Also, if you're brand new, subscribe to the channel. We're going to have a ton of free agency news coming out. Going to be a ton of videos. Man, tomorrow when there's news getting broke, we're going to make some quick hits, put up some vids so you can all the latest free agency news here on Shot Callers Esports. So
I like
make sure
that you said
that.
vids.
Vids,
It's
plural.
pretty hip, man.
I know.
Vids.
I don't have time to say
No,
videos.
Vids.
All right, what's up next, Derek?
Yeah, we'll get to your questions in a little bit, but there were some other smaller moves this weekend that really were actually kind of big, but because of all this TSM, Team Liquid acquiring half the free agent guys, it kind of fell under the radar. Hillisang, originally linked to Optic, coming with Vizichachi. It sounded like they were kind of a two-person deal, a package deal, but now it doesn't look like it because Hillisang is probably going to Fnatic.
That's what it sounds like. And Reckless looks like he might be in charge over there, being like, I want to decide who's on this team. He's been the face of Fnatic for a long while. Took a break, went to Alliance, came back. He's the face again. But it looks like Jesus might be out the window. Hillisang coming in, which is a bit surprising because Hillisang had a rough split with the Unicorns of Love.
Yep.
He's been a bit on the decline. It looked like it was going to be a package deal with Vizichachi, but apparently that's not the case anymore because Soa's probably going back to Fnatic. the Hylissang Vizicachi thing might be getting broken up. And yeah, Hylissang to Fnatic. Unicorns of Love's looking for a new support. Might be looking for a lot of new members, to be fair.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of them are going. Like Xerxes, it sounds like he's got interest from a couple of NA teams, and pretty much, I believe the article that we saw said every EU team but Fnatic.
But Fnatic.
But Fnatic. So Fnatic happy with Broxa, I guess. But I mean, Xerxes was rookie of the split, his first split in the league, and he was a little bit more underwhelming in the 2017 summer. But Unicorns as a whole were not great. And again, I gotta say, when your boy Exile is kind of just feeding his face off in the mid lane, it's a little harder to have pressure around the map.
It's definitely a little tricky. But Xerxes, man, I mean, like, he's shown what he can do. He's played some interesting picks. Again, you mentioned that rookie of the split performance. So obviously he's a pretty interesting guy. Not a ton of NA interest, but still 2 to 3 teams apparently looking into him. And obviously, with so many people leaving EU, trick situation with G2, who knows what's going on there. Xerxes is going to be one of the top performing junglers in Europe. Pretty much has a selection of where to go. So we'll have to see where he ends up going. But he can choose. The world is his oyster.
The world is his oyster. And if Jankos isn't going in G2, I like Xerxes on G2. I think he could thrive in that environment and have an aggressive mid laner like Perks. I think that's something he could work with well. We talked about Licorice last week, C9 signing him, and it was kind of like, well, what are they going to do with Impact? He's in the free agency. Apparently he's been in contact with SKT. They offered him a contract to go over there, and Impact said no.
No thanks.
No.
That's
3 no's.
Wow.
All caps.
That's
period
pretty
after
surprising.
each one.
Last year, if you got an offer from SKT, you're like, absolutely, sign me up, I'm going. But all of a sudden, you don't win Worlds, and
you get roasted.
You get shot down. I guess Impact was looking for more money, and he didn't like the pressure of going back to Korea. Obviously, he played for SKT. The expectation is to win Worlds. Impact not digging that, and apparently he likes North America. Whether that means Cloud9 or another team, we don't know. But earlier reports said that C9 would match offers for Impact. So it looks to me that Impact is still the guy that they want to start on Cloud9. Licorice playing a backup role on that sub team. But again, if Impact goes somewhere else, Licorice will be the guy that steps up unless someone else comes calling.
Yeah, I can't. If he's staying in North America, I can't really see Impact going to another team, especially C9. If they're going to match whatever any other team's doing, I don't see why he would go to a whole new environment. He seems to like the Cloud9 atmosphere. He has fully embraced the memes that team exudes. It's just insane. They're just full of memes, and they're still the best performing North American international team. It's amazing.
Learning English from Sneaky must be a disaster because he is a walking meme, and he only speaks in Twitch emotes and things that is not normal English. So for Impact, I guess he likes the atmosphere. He likes North America, doesn't want to go to SKT. He said, no thanks, I'm going to stay with my homies. At least for now, could be switching teams though.
There is a lot of pressure, no doubt, going on SKT, and definitely less on C9, even though they are one of the top teams in NA, and there is pressure on them to at least have a deep playoff run, pretty much every NALCF playoffs, which they've done for the most part, and he's at times dominated in that top lane. So I feel like he'll probably stay with C9. That's just kind of where things are going for me. A couple other little news and notes of guys moving around. Stunt, one of the last pieces of Immortals that's still around, heading over to FlyQuest. Rumors are going around that Lemon Nation is probably heading to a coaching role, which I think people have kind of been waiting for, expecting for a year, 2 years maybe, ever since the notebook really came to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting move. Stunt, a guy a lot of people have been sleeping on. He had some good performances a while back. But now it looks like he might be getting a bigger opportunity with FlyQuest. I personally am okay with the move, but it might not even be a starting position because, again, Immortals trying to get their players off the books. It could be something that Stunt goes on the Challenger squad. It could be that he's getting transferred elsewhere. But it does look like Lemon Nation is done playing, which I think is a good sign for FlyQuest going forward. I was concerned they would just stick with the roster of these older guys who haven't performed at the highest level lately. Looks like that might be changing, which means Ball's also likely to be done, at least on this team in that starting position. If they're going away from Lemon Nation, I expect them also to be moving away from Balls. So Lemonation's still a great coach, hopefully. We'll see what he can do. Don't know if he'll be joining ThinkCard in that spot or if ThinkCard's going to do something else, but Lemonation off support to coach Stunt potentially starting with, looks like Wild Turtle.
Yeah. I mean,
Who knows?
I think Wild Turtle is the guy you're most likely to keep on that roster. All jokes aside, he was on TSM. People were flaming him pretty good. He had a pretty good season on FlyQuest.
Yeah.
For a team that didn't look so hot for
One
the
of the
majority
brighter
of the
spots.
split. One of the brighter spots. Very bright, even.
You could say so.
And that smile lights up a room.
It does.
I think that was most of them, right?
I think that was it. Is there? We probably missed one, man. It's been crazy.
It's been a lot.
It's been crazy.
And tomorrow, there's a good chance it'll be crazier when teams are officially allowed to get their fingers in there, get dirty, the nitty gritty,
And announce things.
and announce things.
And I mean, should we talk about G2 real quick because their bot lane's gone.
See ya.
Perks apparently been putting in a lot of work trying to get a new roster together.
Right. So the current publicly known G2 roster is no one, Perks, no one. No.
That seems flawed.
I think Perks could win a few games.
So let's talk about what we've heard and what could be going on. In the bot lane, I haven't heard really anything. But, I mean, something in my mind might be Forgiven.
I like that. Perks Forgiven. They could work together. Those guys could work together.
And I know Forgiven hasn't always been the most keen on playing in EU. But he was on the best team in Europe alongside Perks on a fairly weak field, and you can dominate. It makes a bit of sense.
Yeah, listen, the EU LCS next split, especially if guys like Power of Evil and Ignar are moving, it is you watch a G2 game and you want to watch a Fnatic game. Outside of that, you're not watching. You're not watching a single game on the EU LCS if G2 or Fnatic are not playing. Who are these other teams? No one cares about those other teams.
I know.
They're not good.
It's so barren that H2K had to sign K-Drill and Sheriff. And I
Sheriff?
don't know if you've heard those names, but I barely have.
I've heard of sheriffs before.
Yeah, those Western
Small town cops.
Yeah,
I don't know about
good on
sheriff.
them. But I mean, that's what people are having to sign instead of all these big guys. So it looks like G2 might be putting together a bit of an all-star team. Maybe Odo Omne goes over there because H2K falling apart at the seams. Even their coach left. Screw this. I'm going to North America. So G2 maybe with an Odo Omne jungler unknown. Maybe Xerxes goes over there as we mentioned. And then Forgiven in the bot lane would be a pretty enticing team, which, again, G2's trying to do what TSM's doing, get back to Worlds. Have to do so with a much different roster, with only, looks like, Perks coming back.
Yeah, and I think there is still enough local talent in EU to scrap together a really solid team. But, I mean, for these top available guys like a Jankos, Odo Omne, where would you want to go? Probably G2, the team that's won the split 4 seasons or 4 splits in a row, and is a well-established organization, and Perks a premier, if not the premier mid laner in the entire LCS. All these guys are going to be flocking over there. So by the time G2 has their pick of all the top talent in there, then the EU LCS is barren for talent. But yeah, Odo Omne, Jankos or Xerxes down there, Forgiven, or even after Forgiven, who are they going to get there? They might have to import someone.
Who knows?
Prey and Gorilla. Free agents.
They're available.
Prey and Gorilla. I don't know how well that would work. If you just bring 2 guys in who don't speak the language at all, don't speak English at all, Perks doesn't speak Korean at all, that'll probably give you some issues.
Yeah, who knows? They did okay with Trick and Expect. 2 Korean guys up there.
That's true.
So who knows? Maybe they'll do that, but we'll see. G2 roster should be getting announced hopefully tomorrow. I'm excited to see what they got in store.
They got to have some piece by piece. But, I mean, there is some excitement about it. So maybe Perks has done a pretty good job recruiting people. There's enough talent out there that they could have a pretty sick super team in EU, even with just EU players. So
it's still a hell of an organization, one of the most attractive spots, despite losing a lot of talent there. So
yeah, we'll see what Ocelot and the boys have in store for G2 going forward.
Is that all the news we got? Is that what
I believe that is, but I'm sure people will tell us in these questions that we missed some stuff.
Yeah, I just checked the whole feed. I didn't see anything else.
Okay.
So we can get to a lot of questions.
Get to the goods.
Eric, we're going to have to fly. A lot of people curious, as am I.
Good thing I can fly.
Yeah, well, you know what they say.
What do they say?
I don't know.
Nah. Good one. Classic.
What's with Andy says, you remember I asked last Wednesday about if TSM should sign Song. The rumors say that he signed for TSM. What do you think about it now? I mean, it looks like a good move. As you mentioned, the concern is the whole translation thing. When it comes to coaching, it's not that big of a deal because you bring in a translator, and I guess it's okay. I prefer to talk to someone face to face with one language involved instead of, you know.
So weird.
I know, first world problems, am I right? But obviously he's a good coach. He did a lot for Immortals, taking them from a team that kind of struggled to perform on the big stage, getting them over those nerves, taking them to the NALCS finals, put up a decent performance there. Worlds, good week 1, bad week 2. Everyone knows the rest. But I think it's a good move for TSM. Again, they didn't really have a legitimate coach last year. Park did a great job, I think, stepping into that role. But now they have this guy who they spent a lot of money on, upwards of $300,000 USD, on Song. So they obviously believe that he's going to take this team to the next level. I think it's a solid move.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by the move. I'll say that. I mean, if Zven and Mithy are coming and they're getting a new jungler, Song's going to have his work cut out for him because, I mean, that's probably what you want as a head coach coming in, is to kind of be with an entirely new roster as opposed to coming in, if they keep Doublelift, Biofrost, and Zven in there, they've already created their style, and whether or not it's good, they've got all these bad habits in that case that they've built up that you have to slowly break down. But if you have an entirely fresh roster like this, then you can kind of build up and mold the team to what you want. Again, that main concern is just the language barrier, because even, yeah, it's painful to have to go through a translator a lot of the time, but stuff can also just be lost in communication with some of this stuff where maybe something you say sounds more aggressive than it actually is, or sounds more condescending than originally intended. There's so many ways you can miscommunicate how having a conversation when you're in two totally different languages. So,
yeah, who knows? It'll take, again, if this whole TSM roster thing goes through, it'll take some time for them to get on the same page. It's going to be a brand new roster, a new coach, new strategies, new pick bans, all this new stuff, new patch, new preseason, a lot of new things, and TSM takes their time. So we'll see how they do with Zven, Mithy, Song. Man, it might take some while for Synergy to come together, because even G2, they had some issues with some new things as well as Zven and Mithy in that bot lane. Took some time to get together. So we'll see. I do think, though, they'll come together pretty quick and look like a dominant force in North America.
Yeah, maybe this new iteration of TSM won't take as long to adapt to a lot of stuff, because that was one of their issues last split and last year, really. But yeah, don't be surprised if they're like 3-3, 3-4 early on in the spring season.
Yeah.
It's a long season. They'll get to playoffs. They'll probably get to the finals again. So just chill. Just chill.
Yeah, it's TSM. We all know where they'll be come playoffs. In the finals, everyone. Wow, spoiler.
And where will they be at Worlds?
Out in groups.
Out in groups. Nice.
I got the meme down.
Nice.
I know how it goes. Tom wants to know, why would Zven and Mithy go to TSM? I mean, G2 is being better than TSM, so why would they switch?
I mean,
the money.
That is usually the answer when going to TSM. And also, listen, G2 has a pretty established brand. But if you have the opportunity, TSM is probably has the biggest fan base in the West, 100%. It's hard to say because there's just so many fans in a lot of the Asian markets. But I'll say in the West for sure, TSM is the biggest brand, and to be a part of that huge brand, that huge organization, has got to be enticing. And sure, maybe G2's perform better internationally at some of these events, but TSM's at all these same events. Zven and Mithy, I'm sure, feel like they can, whichever team they're on, they can push them over the hump, you know, and perform better. So anytime you have the opportunity to go on TSM, as long as Bjergsen's there, you know, they're going to be a pretty solid team. So it's hard to pass up those opportunities, and money does talk.
It does. And G2 had question marks of their own. I mean,
Absolutely.
The whole jungle top situation.
Yeah, who knows who they're going for? Maybe Zven and
Who
Mithy
knows?
knew who they were getting, and they're like, nah, I don't like that.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't know what was going on with G2. Maybe they just wanted to change. Who knows? But Zven and Mithy to TSM, whether it's for money, whether it's for a change of pace, whether it's for that North American lifestyle that a lot of players have come over and been pretty happy with.
Maybe they like the colors more.
Although they're the exact same colors.
G2's not.
They're gray. You think they like black and white over gray?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Thank you. All
No
about the
problem.
shades.
Shed blood. If Zven and Mithy go to TSM, what does this mean for Doublelift and Biofrost? what teams would be picking them up?
Well, I think a lot of teams would be interested. I'll tell you the teams who I don't think would be interested in Double and Biofrost. C9, probably CLG, unless Afro leaves, then maybe they want Bio. Outside of that, I think every team might want them.
It's a good bot lane.
Why would you not?
Why would you not?
Domestic, even if they're not as a package deal, either one of them, they're at worst top 4 in their position, and they're domestic. I think any of the new NBA teams, Optic would be interested. Echo Fox desperately needs a bot lane. Team Liquid is just signing anyone that's available, so they'll sign them. FlyQuest, you know what? They're probably okay with Wild Turtle. Wouldn't that be painful though? If Double Lift steals its spot again.
See.
So I think FlyQuest is probably okay with Turtle, and they just signed Stunt. So I'll add FlyQuest is probably not interested.
That's fair. I mean, you look at every other team, Optic, the 3 NBA teams, even Team Liquid could be in the running potentially.
Sure, sign them.
Why not? They've already got a lot of players.
Bring
just
them
get
on.
some more. But as you said, they're top position in their role. If you're not making an inquiry, you're doing it wrong. You should be seeing what you can do. How do you get those guys? At least talk to somebody. Talk to TSM. Be like, what's it going to take to get Double Lift and Biofrost? Every team, except for, as you said, maybe CLG, Cloud9 obviously, should be looking at those guys.
Maybe Clutch Gaming talked to them and said, you know what, you guys can come to our team. And they're like, you know what, we're not playing for Clutch City Gaming. We're only playing for Clutch Gaming. They changed the name for him.
Yeah, but can Double Lift really go to Clutch Gaming after all the times he hasn't been Clutch?
Ooh.
Is there a qualification on that?
But then you can throw in Choke Gaming.
That's true. I mean, no matter who's on it, it's going to be Choke Gaming. Let's be honest.
The memes are there. They're fresh for the taking.
Yeah. Tom, does NA Pro players better pay than EU Pro players? Do they get more money than EU? Absolutely, they do.
Especially with franchising, I don't think anyone in EU is making 300K.
Reignover was making 350.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's making that in EU.
No.
And I don't think they will be for a while. Maybe when their franchising gets going, but that is a whole other mess. And that's why all these EU guys are coming here. They can probably make, to throw out some meaningless numbers that I have no idea if they're correct or not, make 2 or 3 times as much in NA. Maybe more, maybe less. Maybe exactly what I said. I don't really know. I have no idea about the numbers, but it's definitely more in NA with all this franchising stuff. And that's why everyone's coming over to NA.
All right, Eric. A lot of questions here. You see all these? Oh, boy. Let's go. Let's go time. You see them?
Yeah.
Henry asked, Lyra to CLG? Lyra, there's a lot of question marks about Lyra.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's the import slot, which not a big deal, especially in the jungle where there's not a lot of North American talent.
CLG's got one.
They've got a spot. So, sure, it makes sense. There is obviously a talented guy. Some other names to keep an eye on. Reignover, Max Lore.
He
European
sounds
guys?
like he wants to stay in EU.
Yeah.
But there are rumors with him coming to NA maybe. And, I mean, if PoE and Ignar both leave, why do you want to stay on that team?
Hansama.
And Sama. Barney.
How far, yeah.
So, it's potential for CLG. But, I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of noise about Omar God. I feel like they think they can maybe groom this guy into what they want him to be. Give him more of an opportunity than half a split to mesh with the team. Maybe he'll be a totally different jungler this split. Who knows? Who knows?
For sure. Rotan, I know Mike Young is a good jungler, but do you worry with such a carry-heavy team that might end up with too many cooks in one kitchen with Mike also being a carry jungler? Interesting proposition. But I think TSM's a talented enough team. All these players have been around for a while that they can all take a step back and, depending on the composition, play to whoever needs to get that early advantage in lane. If it's an 80 carry meta, I think they'll understand they got to go get Zven some early kills, get Mike Young down in the bot lane, and maybe Bjergsen give up a little bit of lane pressure to help bot it. Put Hunter on a tank. He can play tanks, no problem. He doesn't always have to be the main guy to carry the game. Same with Bjergsen. This patch we saw it, in the 80 carry meta. Yeah, he can play Galio. He can play these supportive guys. He can also step up and play a carry role. So I don't think it's too big of a deal. And Mike Young, yeah, he's a carry guy. But that was on a roster on Phoenix 1 where he had to do everything pretty much and get that team ahead. So I'm sure he's capable of taking a step back and playing these tanks and feeding kills onto one of these other carries.
Yeah, you've seen him play the Gragas's of the world. And I mean, I don't think it should be an issue. If you want to be a top team and you have guys who are mainly carry threats, you have to be able to play both sides. You have to be able to play split push tops or tanks. Look at a guy like Someday. He excels on this stuff like Maokai as well as stuff like the Fiora and these guys that are bullying you out of lane. Same with junglers. You have to have that diversity to be able to play multiple play styles. A guy like Mithy can play these engaged champions, something like an Alistar that's just, his Alistar is insane, as you saw at Worlds and the EULCS playoffs. But he can also play Janna. He can play the Karma. Sit back and protect Zven for the entire game. You've got to be able to play these multiple play styles so you guys can run multiple team comps so you don't become predictable. Because TSM in the past has been pretty predictable. Very predictable.
Very predictable. Very. Shed blood. With all the changes happening to TSM and Cloud9, who's the favorite in spring? Who'd be the top team? Long-term TSM.
I gotta see for sure that this is TSM's roster.
Well,
If I'm assuming their roster is Hanser, Mike Young, Bjergsen, Zven, and Mithy, that's got to be the favorite.
Yeah.
It's got to be the favorite. I still think C9 might win spring, and everyone will panic and think this TSM squad isn't even that good. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good.
If that's the team. It'll take a bit of time, but that's an insane team. That's an insane team. And yeah, going forward, that team will be the best team in NA come summer split for sure, and probably the top seed at Worlds for NA to go ahead like 9 months and make a ridiculous claim.
I agree. Chaotic Blizzard. We'll touch on this a little bit, so we'll make it quick, Eric. But if TSM rumors are true, who do you think G2 will grab for the bot lane? Quick answer. Maybe Forgiven and Vander?
Forgiven and Vander? Is Vander that good? I'm not sure how good that bot lane actually would be. You haven't seen either of them really. I know Vander was playing around in the Challenger Leagues. Forgiven you haven't seen in a while. But there's not that much there in EU. So it's either something like that or you're going overseas. Bring Double Lift and Biofrost to G2.
There's no way.
The old trade scheme.
The old trade scheme.
You never see NA guys going over to EU.
No, only Prolly.
Only Prolly, and he's come back now. So it's either that or they're importing something. Prayer Gorilla.
Apparently G2's team looks pretty nice, though.
Yeah, we'll see.
Apparently. What do you think of the chances of C9 picking up Ole and what they could possibly do with that? I don't think that's happening. Ole and Smoothie. I still like Smoothie over Ole as a more stable, consistent support. So I don't see any world in which C9 changes that.
I don't see C9 changing anyone but top, and I don't think they need to because they have a top guy in pretty much every other position. Top 2, top 3 guy in jungle, mid, AD, and support. Yeah, Ole and Smoothie are pretty even. It's definitely not worth giving up an import slot and getting rid of a guy. Smoothie's a guy who has been pretty key to C9's success lately, especially in terms of vocal communication. So I can't see them making a move like that.
No, I don't see it either. Tom asks, so tomorrow we know everything from every team in all regions. Definitely not. That's a lot of information that's going to have to come out.
My head would explode.
Yeah, Jacob Wolf from ESPN was saying that, news might be trickling in, even getting closer to the Christmas. So it's going to take time for all these teams to figure out things. I guess some teams are taking it slow, which seems like a mistake.
Liquid's going to have the entire free agent class.
So not everything tomorrow, but there will be, I believe, some teams coming out with official statements saying, we've signed these guys, and again, players can officially sign tomorrow. That's what that means. Whether that means a bunch of players sign or not, it just means they're able to.
Yeah, I think at the very least, some of these rumors that have been going around will be confirmed. Some of the stuff that happened this weekend, we'll get some official statements on it. There might not be anything brand new or something we didn't already know was kind of coming, but in the coming weeks, you can definitely expect a lot more stuff to be going on. And we also got the scouting grounds. It's like a week away, I believe, the last couple days of November. So these teams are finally going to start getting fleshed out. But these NBA teams, you need a player. Just give me one player on the team.
Let me look at something real quick, Eric. Apparently,
we got some groundbreaking.
Apparently, we got something fresh, which is always exciting, and it involves Team Liquid, believe it or not, Eric.
Everyone loves fresh. Nobody loves stale.
And apparently, Team Liquid will sign Impact, who's expected to start alongside Pobelter and Mithy.
Oh boy!
So all of a sudden, they're gonna keep. They are going to keep Pobelter and Mithy, use an import slot on their boy Impact, Cody's son may be staying over Piglet. Who knows?
Well, you've got
And
it now.
support, I don't know what's going on. So Team
That's
Liquid
interesting.
again. They pick up Impact. What's that mean for Cloud9? Licorice, are you starting? Is someone else going to join Cloud9? Who knows? But that changes a lot.
That changes a lot. That's a pretty good move for Liquid. If they're bringing in Impact, I think that's an upgrade over Lorlo, I'd say.
Yeah.
And that kind of not forces, but really reinforces. They're like, maybe we should keep Pole Belter and have an import slot open, which they definitely should do. Impact, Smithy, Pole Belter, that's a pretty solid trio. That's looking pretty similar to Immortals. I would say Impact and Flame, pretty comparable from last split. Maybe Flame a little bit better, but I mean, they're pretty similar in that regards. Cody said, this is just Immortals. Team Liquid has taken Immortals.
Right. So is Ola going to join them?
Why not?
Who knows? Maybe it'll be Immortals plus Impact.
That's probably a top 3 team, top 4 team.
It was already.
It was already, well.
So, okay, but Team Liquid continues to make moves. They are not waiting around.
Literally signing anyone who is a free agent.
Yes.
They're going to bring in Afro.
So we mentioned earlier in the show, Impact turned down SKT to
Yep.
stay in North America. We thought it might be Cloud9, but it looks like it is Team Liquid joining Smithy. And now this report says Pole Belter will be starting.
Yeah, now, I thought if he was staying in NA, he was for sure going to stay with Cloud9. They said they'd match the offer, whatever Team Liquid offered. I assume Cloud9 offered, so I guess Impact would rather go to Liquid. Big Mickey Mouse fan. Aren't we all, by the way?
Who isn't? That's right.
So, yeah, that's very interesting. And Liquid's roster is quickly looking like they should break the streak of finishing 9th in the league.
With this team, yeah.
It'd be impressive if they finished 9th with Pole Belter, Smithy, Cody Sun, and Impact.
And insert support here.
Afro Moon.
That would be something else, man. I mean, if you're Afro right now, and you look at this team, you're like, oh my God, that team is outstanding. You've played with Pole Belter and Smithy before.
Yep.
Man, that's a good-looking roster. And I'm sure Team Liquid's going to be talking to Afro, saying, if you come to this team, just look at it.
Just look at
This
it.
is a great
Would you
team.
look at it?
He would. He definitely would. So maybe now Steel Defense should be afraid because Team Liquid's making all kinds of noise. Even when it looks like Impact's going back to his normal team, no, going to Team Liquid. Crazy.
I gotta give some respect to Steve, Disney, Team Liquid.
All of them.
They put together that same roster 2 splits in a row, and it was a dumpster fire. It did not go well. 9th, 2 splits in a row, and people were kind of like, "Oh, you did that same roster again in summer after." Didn't go so well in spring, and they did the same thing, definition of insanity, blah, 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 trying the same thing. Now they're just blowing it up. They're going to have 5 different players at every position. They have, 14 players right currently on their roster if they're bringing Impact over? Obviously, that's too many players, but I mean, they're going to be shipping guys off to everywhere, getting their money back for a lot of these players. They're just going all in. Some of these teams are sitting back. Team Liquid's going, okay, we'll take them. We'll take them. We'll take them all and then sell them to you for 200%.
Yeah.
So, whew.
And they might not be done. Keep an eye on Team Liquid.
Keep an eye on Team Liquid. They got a lot. Ugh. They're going to sign anyone.
Yeah, they are.
Scary.
Man, that is some insane breaking news.
Way to be on that breaking news.
Shoutouts to Alex.
Shoutouts to Alex. He knows.
There's still a ton of questions, Eric. So let's rapid fire through some of these bad boys.
Okay.
I know I have as many questions as a lot of you guys do. So
That's right.
here we go. With NA, do you see some crazy Koreans or Chinese free agents coming to NA? I think some of these NBA teams might be making some splashes. I expect a big signing, but I have no intel as to who might be coming over.
I would love to see Praying Gorilla. I'll keep bringing them up. That would be very interesting. So, Peanut, maybe some people are saying, might want to come west. I can't see why he would want to come to NA. I don't know why. Stay in Korea, you're pretty comfortable there. But same thing with Praying Gorilla. I feel like they make a healthy living in Korea. Maybe it's just they want to experience that North American lifestyle that they might want to come over here. But yeah, some of these new NBA teams, maybe Optic as well, I think they definitely have a good chance of throwing some money at guys like Prayer Gorilla or Peanut.
I agree. I think it's definitely possible that there's a big signing happening. Henry Kuhlman, what do you think about Adrian the FlyQuest? He fits their aggressive playstyle and has experience with Wild Turtle when they were on that legendary Immortals roster. They might be happy with Stunt. But I always like the Adrian Wild Turtle chemistry. That's a move that I was looking at earlier in the free agency period, so it's still a possibility. Adrian's a guy a lot of people are sleeping on.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many guys that are basically a tier below these top things like Double Lift, Biofrost, Zven and Mithy. You got guys like Adrian, still without a team, All Tech, Apollo, a guy who really had a pretty solid split last year. There's still so many guys that are going to be available. And once this first layer of top tier talent is gone, then you're going to move on to these guys like Adrian, and they're going to be picked up by places. But I assume FlyQuest is happy with Stunt, at least for the time being. But you never know. Apparently, there's no such thing as too many guys on a roster.
That's what we've learned. You're correct. Coda Cool with an interesting idea. Think about this. Team Liquid buys out Biofrost from TSM. How good would they be then? Well, now with Impact, they'd be really good with Biofrost rounding out that team.
Yeah, that would be, again, a top 4 at worst. Top 2 at best, probably.
That team could compete for sure.
That would be a very solid team for Team Liquid. And again, they're basically just gonna do Immortals. So they're like, we'll do a favor. We'll do you a favor. We'll take out your contracts for you, and then we'll just take your team and be your team. We are now Immortals. We should put both our jerseys on there.
Yeah,
because they are one.
We're gonna sew them together.
We'll sew them
Cut
together.
them in half and sew them together.
Immortals, Team Immortal Liquid.
Sounds disgusting.
Liquimortal. That's a hard word to combine.
Yeah, it's not the best.
I'll get back to you guys on that one.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Shed Blood. Should C9 be playing Licorice this coming season full-time or Impact? Do you think they'll pull off another split with a Ray Impact, whatever? Well, apparently Ray is not going to be sticking around, and now Impact is not sticking around, leaving only Licorice, so either they sign someone else or it's Licorice's job.
Yeah, unless they're bringing in a pretty marquee free agent, it's definitely Licorice who's getting the majority of the starts, if not all the starts, in that top lane for C9, which is actually pretty exciting. He's a guy who's been pretty hyped up coming out of the challenger scene, so I'd like to see him start a lot of games for C9.
I agree. Tom, Romain left UOL, but where did he go? He's with Optic, apparently.
Yep.
And he brought in a French coach in Zabutin, so already his effect is being had over there on Optic. Shedbler, double and Biostar on TSM, or are their contracts up? Contracts are not up. They're still technically contracted by TSM. Someone's going to have to buy them out if they want to get those two guys.
And someone definitely will.
Someone definitely will. James 1, do you think Praying Gorilla will stay in the LCK? I say yes. What do you say, Eric?
I think they will. I want to believe they'd come to NA just because it'd be insane, but I don't think even the money in NA would entice them in, because I feel like they're probably making a similar amount in the LCK. These guys have been winning and around forever in Korea, so I think they'll probably stay there. And they've seen that SKT can be beaten, so they believe. I'm sure.
Fed, is Ignar officially not in Misfits 2018? He, like several others, are just testing the free agent market. If there's an offer out there that's nice,
he could come back to Misfits.
See ya. If not,
he could leave. It's totally up to him and the offers that come his way. So he is officially a free agent. Outside of that, who knows?
Yes, he could still return. What's with Andy with a nice compliment? Best content about LoL. Keep it up, guys. Greetings from Netherlands again. Thank you, Andy. Much appreciated. Thanks for tuning in. Week in, week out. Shed Blood. What will happen to Flame and Ole this coming split? Flame is an interesting one because, again, it's that whole import slot thing. But now with Impact already off the market, maybe Flame's value goes up. Ole will definitely be signed by somebody, whether it is Team Liquid, because it looks like they might have an open slot. If they go with those 3 Immortal guys plus Impact, that support could be Ole again and just keep the 4 Immortal guys together. So that's potential.
Both of them probably worth an import slot and will be going somewhere.
I agree. I agree. Let's see. Questions.
Questions.
Y20 GPK, do you think the new teams from the NBA Optic would want to sign the players from the previous teams? For example, whole roster of Envy, Phoenix One, Dignitas. That's looking less and less likely.
Yeah, I can't see like a whole roster. I think I kind of thought that might happen because one of these teams might be slow on the draw and kind of get screwed over and be left with kind of that low second tier 3 talent left. But I mean, now it looks like they're just going to kind of handpick the best pieces from that stuff. Maybe pull out Lyra from Envy or Apollo, guy who was pretty solid from there. So I think you're not going to see full roster iterations moving anywhere, except for this Immortals one, which seems to be pretty much fully intact. But I mean, that was the second best team in NA last split. So
yes.
Makes sense.
Thus, 6 or 9, do you predict a big change in the top NA teams with all the new teams and rosters TSM, already big changes.
That's a
Doublelift,
big change.
Biofrost gone, Zven and Mithy in. Cloud9, looks like Impact is out. CLG, after looking at free agency, he could be back. Jungle, possible switch. So already big changes to some of these teams, depending on what you think about the Cloud9 move. But
I thought the only teams that wouldn't make a move might be C9 or CLG. It looks like they both might make a move, which means all 10 rosters on the LCS are going to have some kind of roster swap, which is going to be insane. These teams are going to be unrecognizable for the first couple weeks of the LCS.
yes. Victim of 300. Why sign Cody Sun when you could sign Doublelift and Afro?
Well, I believe they signed Cody Sun before the Zven and Mithy rumors kind of came to fruition. So they didn't know Doublelift was available, but I mean, they still could. They still very well could sign Doublelift and Afro. Who knows? Again, I don't know if you want Doublelift and Afro together. Maybe that's not a great relationship to have on your team. But again, I mean, Cody Sun was super solid, and I think for a pretty good stretch of the regular season was actually outperforming Doublelift. So it's not so bad.
It's not so bad. Alexis, do you think Dardoch will have another opportunity for a starter? It's looking less and less likely unless one of these NBA teams want to take a chance. But he's had so many opportunities, and I don't want to say he's blown it, but it just hasn't worked out pretty much every time. I know Team Liquid kind of gave him another chance, but all of a sudden he's not in that picture anymore, like Mithy is. So
there's 3 junglers on Team Liquid I'd take before him probably. So yeah, he might be in a bit of trouble if he's looking for a starting spot this split, because a lot of teams already have their jungler, and Liquid has 3 other guys that they might be shipping out ahead of him. So
it's an interesting situation. 6or9 also asked, do you know of any new hyped up rookies coming to North America? Looks like there's not going to be a rookie of the split this year because everyone's playing these veteran guys who are available. Licorice could be someone. You're right, if he gets that starting spot with Cloud9. But outside of that, doesn't look like there's going to be too many opportunities for rookies in general.
Not when so many imports are coming in. So yeah, we might have another Mike Young situation where you almost win by default. I know Niski came in at the end and pushed him a little bit. Maybe some guy shines on the academy roster and someone else kind of struggles on the main one and they come in. But right now, I don't see much room for rookies to get any playing time.
Absolutely. What do you say of the rumor of Marin to SKT again? Marin not re-signing with the Freaks.
I mean, if they're throwing out bait to Impact, might as well send it out to Marin too.
Who knows?
Throw it out to Duke.
Loco Doco's got some Korean connections.
Yeah. Marin's definitely... Would he come to NA? Maybe.
Who knows?
It's hard to say with a lot of these Korean guys if they actually want to come to NA.
But I'm sure SKT's put out feelers.
Oh, and for sure they have.
It's a question of where does he want to go. SKT's obviously a pretty good landing spot.
A lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure. It is a lot of pressure.
Dealt with that pressure before, so.
Brom is lit. Plays. What do you think of G2 Yankos?
I like it.
We like it. I've heard that it might not happen. And who knows? Again, if you're Yankos and you're looking around at these teams, there's just not a lot of places. If Nag doesn't want Xerxes because they're happy with Broxa, I don't think they'd go after Yankos as well, even though I think Yankos is better. Apparently they're happy with Broxa. So we'll see.
You don't think he wants to play with Cadril and Sheriff?
I don't think so, no. I know it's crazy. Is an NA move possible? Potentially.
Jungler spots are filling up pretty quickly. I don't know if a team's taking an import slot for him.
So I think we both agree that an Odo Yankos reunion in G2 makes sense.
That's not bad.
But I don't know if it's going to happen.
We'll see.
Saran Rap says Echo Fox roster for 2018 guesses. Froggen.
Froggen's a good guess. Not even really a guess.
It's not a guess. This one's tricky. Because the only information I have is that Rick Fox liked the tweet saying that Afro is exploring free agency. So
I think they get one of Cody Sun or Doublelift. I think they might get him, or one of them, and one of Afro and Biofrost. I think they might go big and get a ridiculous upgrade on their bot lane, because that has been the main issue basically since that organization's existence. So I think they get a pretty solid bot lane in some combination of Cody Sun, Doublelift, Biofrost, Afro. They'll probably keep Acadian, and top lane,
change it.
use an import slot.
You already are, and you're wasting one right now.
There's a bunch of guys. Hooney, Someday, Flame. Yeah, those are the main ones.
Any of those guys would be an upgrade over Looper.
Big one.
Final question, Eric. It's been crazy. Shedblood, could we see an Ignar to NA, and what team would he be going to if that is happening? I think him going to Korea is more likely. But in terms of North America, there are definitely landing spots. I mean, we mentioned Team Liquid time and time today, especially now if they keep Cody's son, Pobelter, ex-Mithy, then you do have that possibility to get one more import slot. Ignar is an import.
That is true.
That is true.
I mean, you haven't really seen NA import supports that much the last couple of years. It's basically the last calendar year, it was only Olay that was really a main starting support that was using up an import slot. So NA teams haven't really been doing that lately. Maybe they'll do it more so with franchising. Well, they already are if a guy like Mithy's coming in. So we'll see. I don't know if Ignar's coming to NA. I feel like he might just stay with Misfits, and this is all a little too hyped up. But we'll see. I don't know what to believe anymore. There's so many rumors going on. There's a lot of rumors.
There's a lot of rumors.
Any more rumors?
Not that I see, man. I mean, we already broke some news today with the Impact signing. It's pretty crazy. So, again, we're going to keep pushing out content as it comes up. I know today we got to digest all this information, but come tomorrow when we're chilling here at the office, we'll keep our eyes on anything. And if it goes nuts, we'll hop on, do a quick video, and let you guys know what's going on. But, I mean, stay tuned because this is not the end of it. Today was already crazy. Thanks, everyone, for your questions. That was
much appreciated.
That was nutty.
All across the globe.
And we'll keep you guys informed. So you can follow us on Twitter @_SC eSports. You see on the bottom of your screen. Subscribe on YouTube because we'll be hitting free agency hard with anything that happens. Yeah, tomorrow we're not going to be doing a live show, but depending on how much news is broken, and I'm sure there'll be a decent amount, we'll be pumping out some videos. So make sure you're checking out our YouTube because there will be some more videos there. And we will be back on Wednesday for 5v5 Live at 2 p.m. to break down, I can only imagine, a buttload of new roster moves. So make sure you're tuning in for that. Yeah. Other than that, we'll see you around in the next 2 days. And keep refreshing that browser. That's because you can't do it too often. I think 5 to 10 seconds is a good pace. Yeah. To refresh. Definitely. That's what I've been doing all day, back at my desk. Yeah. We'll be back live on Wednesday, and we'll be putting out some content tomorrow. So we'll see you guys the next time. Eric Kummel, Matt Hempstead. See you then.